Folks, what is popping? Today, we're back on the channel. It's been a while. So I hear a lot of people talk about charisma. How to be charismatic, how to be a charismatic person, what are charismatic behaviors. First of all, let me tell you something. There is no such thing as a charismatic person. Now, this is my opinion. You can take it or leave it. But in my mind, there's no such thing as a charismatic person. That's just an identity. The only thing that exists is charismatic behaviors. Things that you can do to make other people feel like they're the only person in the room. They're the most important person in the world. So charismatic behaviors, for me, entail stuff like asking how you are, trying to find out more about the person, using that information to build a relationship. That's actually a very, very important skill, building rapport. Whether it be at work, at school, whatever situation, you're going to need it in both your personal and professional life. In the book, The Charisma Myth, the author kind of details how charisma really stems from positive emotion. The reason why some people are charismatic is because they feel charismatic. If you don't feel charismatic, if you feel like you're constantly grasping at straws when talking to people, then obviously that's going to come across in your interactions. But if you feel charismatic, if you feel wanted and loved, but more importantly, if you feel you deserve to be wanted and loved, then that's also going to come out in your interactions. In the Four Agreements, Don Ruiz says, if I love myself, that love is going to come out in my interactions with you. If I hate myself, that hate is also going to come out. And whenever somebody insults you or uses the word against you, basically what that's doing is sending you emotional poison, because that's what that person has inside of them. That's what they have to offer. So it's the same thing with charisma. You can send somebody like emotional gold. You can send somebody emotional well-being, but you can do that without having your own cup full first. A big mistake that people make when trying to become charismatic is they try to be on all the time. They try to be charismatic all the time. You'll see these people, like even in the Target checkout line, like my personal example, trying to be charismatic, trying too hard. In my journey, personally, I went from one end of the spectrum, not talking to anyone, blah, 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 like a closed door, basically, to Jesus Christ, I'm talking to everyone. And I'm not saying this I literally went to that extreme, but that's a mistake. Charisma should be natural. It should be something that you want to do, not something you dread, oh, I have to do this, I have to be on all the time. Because let me tell you what that's going to do. It's going to render you unable to set boundaries. You need to experience some sort of negative emotion so that you have enough motivation to go ahead and set those interpersonal boundaries in your relationships. If you don't have that, and you pretend that everything's fine 100% of the time, it's not going to be good for you. Constantly going to feel resentful, like you're giving too much and not getting anything back. Another thing, importance. When you're being charismatic, a lot of people think, oh, you have to be so serious, you need to be so passionate and dedicated, and that's a good thing, but too much of a good thing is going to lead you to overcomplicate charisma. If you find a charismatic person, you know that they are charismatic. Again, I'm saying a charismatic person, but there's really no such thing. If you feel like this person embodies charisma, they're really not overcomplicating it. It's the same thing with confidence. Confident people don't have to stand in the mirror and do affirmations every single morning to convince themselves they have confidence. They just tune in to what is already going on. The same thing with charisma. Charisma can be confused with authenticity, and let me explain my personal interpretation of the two. You can be a very polished person. You can be a very charismatic person. You can be a very welcoming person. But that doesn't mean you're being authentic. But let's re-examine our definition of authenticity. A lot of people think of being authentic as expressing whatever it is you're feeling at the moment. But a lot of us, when struggling to be charismatic or trying to convey this charismatic message to people, find ourselves nervous. Is this going to work? Does this person believe that I am charismatic? Let me tell you something. First of all, it doesn't matter. And second of all, those are internal barriers. A lot of people make the mistake of fighting against doubt or inhibition. You should feel 100% of that fear, because that fear is going to lead you to a better reality, a more fulfilling reality for yourself. Authenticity doesn't mean showing up at your worst every single day. It's acknowledging your worst and continuing to strive for the best. Actually, my language arts teacher has kind of a good saying about this, and it's not common, really, this saying. I really haven't heard it before, but it goes like this. I don't need 100% of you every single day. I need 100% of whatever percent you have left. And the first time that she said that, she has a lot of these like little sayings, these little motivational quotes just to get the day started. But when she first said this, it made a lot of sense to me, and it was something that impacted me because I found out that's probably the right way to go. And charisma is the same thing. Don't have to be on all the time. A lot of people, when trying to learn to be charismatic, get some sort of charisma coach, life partner. I have no idea. But the problem with a lot of these coaches is that they're going to give you that rush that you're seeking for. Oh, you're making so much progress. You're the only person who knows if you're making progress or not. You're the only person who knows if you're being authentic or not. You can lie to yourself for the moment, but when you're alone and when you lay down to go to sleep at night, things come up. That's all I can say. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody is uncharismatic to an extent. Everybody's awkward. There are people who just think that they're not and have chosen to not label themselves. And that's what we should all strive to be. Charisma is inherent in all of us. It's like you have a garden and you have the plants of charisma. And by doing these behaviors, by asking people how they are, by smiling, by making eye contact, maybe you do this with your hands to convey passion, making people feel like they're the only one in the room. By doing those things, you water that plant of charisma. On the flip side, by feeding into this, I'm so awkward, I'm so socially awkward, I'm so socially inept. By feeding into that plant, you just poured like so much water on this plant of awkwardness. Everyone is awkward. Everybody says awkward stuff. The difference is there are people who do not beat themselves up because of it. It's hard, but now that you know this, you have the choice. What plant are you gonna water? If you're shy, again, that's a trait. You can overcome a trait. You can overcome really anything you choose. Charisma is always a choice. And I hope this video helped you. Thank you. Oh, I'm at the club. Oh, it's getting rough. She tryna rub. What the fuck? Yeah, told me that she wanted triplets. I'm not Santa, not my hit list. put him in a cage like Nicholas. National treasure, I'm in this. Buying all these clothes like a shopper. Moving fast speeds, I'm a chopper. Switching my place like the pauper. That's a great offer. Ooh, 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 ooh. Stunning on my haters, I'm like Evil Knievel. Paid for the attempt, but y'all been bugging like a weevil. Too many syllables, it's just not feasible. Yeah. Ooh. Back on my bullshit like a product line. These frontline workers doing overtime. Lord forgive me, I still shop online. Making them deliver on time. Let it go and get back on it. Call me wise like the Toltec. I've been playing with the full deck. Is he playing with the full deck? I can fucking smell the disrespect. Watching on me like that new Paddock. I still don't know. I don't know, man. Conflict resolution is absent. Told to get up here and then repent. Yeah.